fears growing of a Paris copycat attack right here on American soil. Fox News Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Herridge is here with the latest. Catherine.
Thank you, Greta. This is a 9-page bulletin that was issued by Homeland Security and the FBI on the eve of the Thanksgiving holiday, and it warns that ISIS sympathizers or followers here in the U.S. could attempt to launch copycat attacks like what we saw in Paris, but specifically it warns that they've moved beyond military targets and government targets, and they're now focusing on so-called soft targets, so parades, sporting events, restaurants, and other congregations.
Do they have specific information of threats, or are they thinking like what we're all thinking? We're all thinking we saw in Paris, so we all suspect we're going to get it here. Is that what they have too, just a suspicion like we do?
One of the things the bulletin does is it tells us a lot about the Paris attack that we have not heard before, and it talks specifically about the use of encryption and apps on one of the attacker's phones.
All right.
So when they say we don't have a credible threat, you have to take that in the context of being somewhat blind and deaf to their communications.
All right. Well, I want to know what the viewers think. So viewers are out there, vote in this poll. What do you think? In light of the worldwide travel warning, are you scared to travel? Tweet yes or no using hashtag Greta. We're going to show you your live Twitter votes throughout the show. At least now we'll see more probably increased security over the next couple of days.
We're going to see that, and it also says specifically for police departments to sort of reassess their active shooter protocol. One of the things we learned in the bulletin is that the French SWAT team waited 35 minutes to enter the concert hall, and it was in that 35-minute window that everyone was killed, so they have to move much faster.
Bottom line, if you see something, say something.
That's correct.
Anyway, Catherine, thank you.
Thank you.
The busy holiday week leaving some to fear that Thanksgiving festivities could become terror targets from major cities to parades to Black Friday malls. How's America being kept safe? Former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani goes on the record. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Greta. How are you? Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, too. Mr. Mayor, I can't even imagine the task trying to protect the American people because everyone's going to be someplace, you know, whether it's in a mall or gathering someplace over the next couple of days, and ISIS has made threats on us. How dangerous is it?
It's a reality. This reality is that we're a target, and they want to attack us, and they probably have a couple of plots that they're trying. I'm sure the FBI and local police are on top of most of them. And Americans have something that they can do about terrorism that's within their control, and that is they can be resilient and not let this thing, play on them. One of the things the terrorists try to do, they try to take the kind of acts they commit, which are limited in nature. Even though it was 120, 130 people, I mean, that many people get killed on a weekend in America, right? So that we can't let that affect us psychologically. Here's what I can say to the American people with total confidence. I shouldn't say total confidence, pretty confident. There's probably going to be a terrorist attack in the United States pulled off by ISIS. You are probably not going to be the victim of a terrorist attack, and you're going to die of something else. So don't worry about it so much. Let the police worry about it. Let the FBI worry about it. Let the CIA worry about it. Keep your eyes open. If you see something suspicious, report it. I can think of 4 terror plots before September 11th that were stopped in New York City because of diligent police officers or citizens.
It seems to me that what you're saying is that, you know, the argument of the American people, and frankly, I don't know how comforting it is. I wouldn't go to an outside cafe, I must confess, in the United States if the weather warranted it. But you're saying the odds are you're not going to get hit by terrorism. It's a big country, and, you know, there's so many people here. But it's really an odds issue, so you're not going to get it personally. But it's really painful to watch other families go through it.
If I had to go to Paris tomorrow, I'd be on a plane going to Paris tomorrow. And the chances that something's going to happen to me, no greater there than, God forbid, something here in New York. So what I'm trying to tell the American people is resiliency is a defense to terrorism. They are playing on our minds, and we can't let them do that. And unfortunately, our president is not a particularly effective leader in helping us through this. When he tells us how terrible things are, how awful things are, when he seems to have no plan, when he has President Hollande kind of leading the effort, we don't get that sense of leadership that we should be getting from the top. So I think it leaves people a little bit worried. What you'd like to say to them is leave it to the authorities and let the government take care of it, and then they see President Obama, who doesn't seem to have a strategy.
And I I would just add one other thing to the American people. This is my advice, which I've heard from everybody else. If you see something, say something, because it's usually there's something weird, before this. Anyway.
Nothing wrong with that. You can never over-report. Maybe it's a needle in a haystack, but if you can pick out that needle, you can save a lot of lives. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, thank you, sir.
Happy Thanksgiving, and I'm praying it's going to be safe, and I think it will be.
I hope so.